It's the second World Club Challenge for both Leeds Rhinos and the Melbourne Storm. The 15th in all, 10 wins for British clubs, 4 for the Australians. And there is the Leeds team that is carrying the hopes of the Super League here tonight. They won the Super League crown against St Helens at Old Trafford, 33 points to 6. 2 weeks earlier, this Melbourne Storm club had beaten Manly 34-8. Both coming into this World Club Challenge then on the back of emphatic wins. This is the way the two teams will line up. Brent Webb at fullback, Lee Smith, Clinton Tupee, Keith Senior and Scott Donald, Danny Maguire and Rob Burrow. Forwards, Kylie Luluai, Matt Diskin, Jamie Peacock, Jamie Jones-Buchanan, Gareth Ellis and Kevin Sinfield, who is the captain. It's the starting 13. On the bench, there is just one change from Old Trafford. Ali Lauatiti, Ryan Bailey, Nick Scruton comes in for the luckless Ian Kirk, and Carl Ablett completes the lineup. There is, of course, a brand new coach, Brian McLennan. Now the Melbourne Storm, Billy Slater at fullback, Steve Turner, Will Chambers, Israel Folau and Anthony Quinn. Matt Geyer will operate at standoff alongside the skipper tonight, Cooper Cronk. The forwards, Jeff Lima, Jeremy Smith and Brett White. Antonio Kafusi and Ryan Hoffman in the second row, with Dallas Johnson at loose forward. And on the bench, Russell Aitken, Adam Blair, Sika Manu and Sam Tagatese. And the coach is Craig Bellamy. Well, it might be blowy, it might be breezy, but I'll tell you something, about an hour or so ago, it was pouring with rain here. At least that has stopped, and the pitch looking in pretty good nick. And of course, Leeds, over 30,000 of their regular fans inside this Ellen Road Stadium, as they hope this Melbourne Storm team are sent home with their tails well and truly between their legs. Can Leeds maintain the British run in this fixture? Super League sides have won the last 4. Melbourne won their grand final in emphatic style, 7 tries to 2. But only one of their try scorers from that day features here, the winger Anthony Quinn. The Leeds Rhinos are back at the scene of their previous World Club Challenge success 3 years ago when they beat the Canterbury Bulldogs 39-32. They were 26-6 ahead at half-time, and there are 8 survivors in the Leeds ranks from that night. Ellen Road certainly holds fond memories for Brian McLennan as well. As the New Zealand coach in 2005, he masterminded New Zealand to their 24-0 defeat of Australia in the Tri-Nations final. And Craig Bellamy was assisting Wayne Bennett, who was the coach of Australia here that year. Well, if support is anything to go by, this is going to be the Rhinos' night.
And I think it will be, but they cannot take this Australian side lightly at all. Don't worry about the wind and the rain. The Melbourne side, they're quite used to that, because during the winter when the NRL, of course, is played down under, they are used to the storm, the rain, the wind. It'll be just like being at home as far as they're concerned.
Melbourne have been the best team in Australia for the last 2 years. They topped the table in 2006 and 2007, losing just 4 times in 2006, losing just 3 times in 2007. But they haven't played a competitive fixture since the grand final on the 30th of September. They did beat Manly just before leaving Australia in a trial game, 56-10. And of course, they beat Halifax here in West Yorkshire last Friday by 26 points to 10. But you can tell that Melbourne are not here for the ride. And Ashley Klein, the match referee, Australian accent, Super League official, so absolutely straight down the middle, as you would expect. He's the man in control tonight.
And I'm sure that Craig Bellamy has just had the odd word to the official. There are a few, shall we say, interpretations of the international rules which we will be playing under tonight. But let's hope that the official clamps down on any playing around the play the ball area. Here we go.
The World Club Challenge is underway, and there's the wind that is going to be a real problem for the kickers tonight. It was a huge clunk from Israel Folau, and the ball sailed into about row S of the stand behind the Leeds posts. Leeds have a penalty on halfway, and here is Jamie Jones-Buchanan.
Well, Bill Arthur, in the build-up to this game, said that the Melbourne Storm had about half an hour testing the wind and getting used to the atmosphere. They certainly didn't learn much there from the kick-off.
Kylie Luluai will play the ball here to Matt Diskin. He will find Keith Senior, who has signed a new extension to his contract with the Rhinos this week. Plays the ball to Matt Diskin. Hands off one, hands off two. Gives the ball in field to Jamie Peacock. Jamie Peacock is grounded by Kaufusi.
Just saying, it doesn't surprise me that Leeds are running from the dummy half position. They're obviously trying to make sure that the Melbourne Storm work very hard in the middle in the forwards.
This is Luluai again. He's hauled down by Jeremy Smith. And now it's Danny Maguire will dab the ball to the in-goal area. Brilliantly picked up, though, by Billy Slater. And this fellow is dangerous.
You could see there, good position by Slater. He really is one of the huge stars down under. 70 tries in just over 130 games. He really does have a wonderful strike rate. And you could see there the way that not only he just put himself in the position to took the ball, he beat two men with sidesteps.
He is a big star in Australia. 5 times he's played for Queensland, but he's never played with the green and gold jersey on yet, Phil.
No, but I think Leeds will learn very quickly that probably Melbourne are the most dangerous whenever they actually kick the ball to Billy Slater. You're really inviting trouble, and I know it was an attacking option from Danny Maguire to put it in, because the game wears on and they have to kick maybe to gain territory. It's a key feature that they lock up Billy Slater on the kick chase.
Kick down centre field will find its way eventually into the arms of Brent Webb, who got a try in last year's grand final. Webb is tackled by Israel Folau, and Steve Turner plays the ball to Scott Donald. And Melbourne, too quick out of the blocks, they're called offside.
A little bit too eager, they want to get involved. Not surprisingly, they want to just feel the force of that. That's the kick-off that went sailing through. That indicates the strength of this wind. And Craig Bellamy, the Melbourne coach, realises they've got to utilise this and make sure they keep pinning Leeds back. As yet, it has to come.
Kylie Luluai plays the ball to Matt Diskin, and he is grounded by Dallas Johnson. There were appeals then for offside against Melbourne again. There is Burrow, here is Maguire. Leeds have started busily, but the pass from Maguire only goes to ground, and they've lost momentum there. And Webb, he does well to hang on to the possession under pressure from the defender. It's Maguire again. Here is Peacock. He goes down on tackle number 4.
Amazing, the first time that the Rhinos tried to spin it out wide. It was an awful pass there from Maguire.
Jamie Jones-Buchanan is wrestled to the ground on the last. 22 metres away from the line. Up goes the kick. Now then, this will hang in the wind. This is a real tester. And the ball, as it turns out, bounced in front of Anthony Quinn. Unfortunately for Melbourne Storm, it bounced over the dead ball line.
Well, Quinn was looking all over the place for this. He got lost in the lights as well. It was a huge high bomb. And I think this is not a night to be a fullback or a winger. They are going to be peppered for the full 80.
Impressions of the opening 4 minutes, Tony Smith.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see how Melbourne handled this set. They kept it very tight in their first set, but Leeds look dangerous when they offload the ball, don't they? You know, but I know that pass went astray from Danny Maguire, but you can see their intent right from the kick-off, really.
Penalty there against Kylie Luluai. He was having too much time on the top of Jeff Lima. The referee had shouted held 3 or 4 times.
Well, I got the impression perhaps the official could have got Gareth Ellis. He seemed to lift the legs higher than horizontal. And not surprisingly, the Storm have gone for a very short kick into touch.
So here they come again in the shape of Antonio Kaufusi, the Tongan born anyway, but he's played for Australia. And he plays it to Matt Geyer, the veteran of this Melbourne Storm side, 32 years of age. The only man to play in all 3 of Melbourne's grand finals. Now it's with Ryan Hoffman. Good defence here from the Leeds Rhinos. Geyer to Dallas Johnson. Johnson taking on Peacock.
High shot. Peacock didn't miss him.
Dallas Johnson not impressed.
Neither was the official.
Yeah, wait. You got the penalty, okay.
Impact on the shoulder, but eventually goes straight underneath the chin.
Back up, okay.
Well spotted by Ashley Klein. I mean, a big night for him as well. Born in Australia, resident here, of course. But as Eddie said,
Come on, Carly, come on.
he'll be giving no favours to either side.
Matt Geyer. That's Cooper Cronk. He's a danger man. Here's another, Billy Slater. Now he finds Anthony Quinn. Anthony Quinn is tackled by Keith Senior and company. Here's Israel Folau. He finds Cooper Cronk again, and it's the drive-in by Brett White, the prop forward. That's 3 tackles gone.
Wait, 2 feet, wait.
Geyer was named at standoff, but operating so far at dummy half. This is Folau! And Israel Folau is just short of the line. Chances here for Melbourne, and it's Cooper Cronk with a dab over the top, and it finds the man under the sticks. It's Billy Slater, I think. It's the last tackle.
Oh, Leeds are all at sea on the left-hand side, and they've gone for the run. They've gone for the power play, and that's no try. They were all over the shot with the Rhinos. They had one player ready over on that far side, and all the Storm had to do was to get it out quickly, and they went for the power play and run from dummy half.
Geyer held up, said the referee. This is a totally different outfit than that which turned up at Halifax last Friday, Phil, to play the team from National League One.
Really interesting.
I think we've got trouble with your mic, Phil, so we'll come back to you in a moment. As this attack from Leeds builds, but from inside their own half. And there's the kick from Danny Maguire, but straight into the arms of Billy Slater. Now this fellow can really return these deep kicks, and Maguire knew that. That's why he followed his own kick up, but he has given away the penalty.
He never really attempted to get square on, had to play the ball, quick play the ball, and got them from that. Good tackle from Maguire, but you can see messing around, took his time, interfering, not
and then he had a word with Ashley Klein, and Danny Maguire and Leeds will march 10 metres back towards their own line.
It always amazes me, why do they keep doing it?
Get 2 feet on that goal line.
You're never going to change the man's mind. You give away an extra 10. But Leeds will be quite happy with the fact that Melbourne have not utilised this strong wind.
No, every time they've had to kick for touch, they've been conservative, and they've just plonked it into the stands. Here is Cooper Cronk. Leeds know the danger that he poses. There are 3 men in there in the tackle. Matt Geyer is the dummy half. He finds Billy Slater. Slater then on to Jeremy Smith, New Zealand international. Internationals all over this field here tonight as the best of Super League takes on the best of the NRL. A drive in here from Brett White. That's the last tackle for Melbourne Storm. Inside the Leeds 20-metre zone with Cooper Cronk again attacking the line. Crossfield kick straight into the arms of Kylie Luluai. Phil, I think we've got your microphone sorted.
Yeah, I was just saying earlier in the play, very interesting for Melbourne. They're sending the left winger, Anthony Quinn, over here playing on the right-hand side. Not afraid to come out of position when they were in a good attacking zone, and unfortunately didn't come off for the Melbourne side, but they will play players and move them around. Most of the kicks, if you look, wherever Billy Slater is, that's the majority of the occasion Melbourne will kick the ball to. But as the game progresses, that will also be a fake play, and they will pass it behind the man and run the ball. So they're just warming up Leeds up with the Slater option on the kick. Penalty here now to the Rhinos.
Yes, it was a grapple tackle by Brett White. We could all see that. He was round the throat of Keith Senior.
Well, any of the viewers that really enjoy rough, tough, strong tackling, the back 3 of this Melbourne Storm, Kafusi, Hoffman and Johnson, they really put themselves about, and Leeds realise they're not going to be easy to get past.
Brett White gets the ball away to Gareth Ellis, who of course will be operating in the NRL with the West Tigers this time next year. It's Jamie Jones-Buchanan, though, plays the ball to Ellis. Ellis then to his captain, Kevin Sinfield. Sinfield running laterally. Now he'll straighten it up. That's the 3rd tackle, this set of 6. Wants to get on with it quickly. Plays the ball to Rob Burrow. Burrow with a scampering little run. Halted by the tackle from Dallas Johnson. Here now is Sinfield again. Back on the inside to Ellis. Good play. Good defence, though, from Johnson again and Brett White. Last tackle here for Leeds. Diskin to Burrow. Burrow with an angle kick. Again, Billy Slater picks it up. And that's a penalty. He passed the ball off the ground. Tackle completed. He could not pass that. Billy Slater did. Penalty to Leeds under the sticks.
Well, there are times when you display your skill, and that certainly wasn't it. He plays so much rugby league football just on the spur of the moment. And you can see the ball carrying arm has hit the deck. Momentum is stopped in the tackle. We're not going to pat on the back by his coach, Craig Bellamy.
And watching alongside Craig Bellamy is Stephen Kearney, of course, who is no stranger to Super League viewers.
How's this for respect?
Well, I think it's obvious. This is a penalty in front of the sticks, and Leeds have tried to pierce this Melbourne defence, so they'll have a little pot shot at goal here with Kevin Sinfield. And the Rhinos have a 2-point lead.
It's interesting that Melbourne declined the shot at goal down the other end. They could have easily put that one over, so a bit of change in attitude between the two teams here, and a bit of difference. But interesting to watch Folau attack down at Rob Burrow there close to the line. I think it won't be the last time we see that match-up tonight. I think they're going to attack down Rob Burrow's side, but interestingly, Leeds are sending a lot of work down their side as well.
Indeed so. Kevin Sinfield's just scored for the 45th consecutive match as we go down to the sideline and Bill.
Eddie, we were talking before the game about how Melbourne Storm had left no stone unturned in their preparation. 2 warm-up games. They've trained and they've put the effort in here on the pitch as well before the game here. Warming up yesterday with some sneaky kicking practice, but they've even got some expert advice from Liverpool FC manager Rafa Benitez. Craig Bellamy went to Liverpool yesterday to the training ground to meet Rafa Benitez and his coaching staff, and shared a cup of coffee and got some tips, probably about how to win a European title or even a world title.
Well, there you go. As you say, Craig Bellamy on the left of your screen there, with Stephen Kearney up here on the gantry, leaving no stone unturned. Burrow, the dummy half, and he finds Kevin Sinfield. The runner is Ellis. Little half break from Gareth Ellis. It's the last one here for Leeds. And Rob Burrow, crossfield kick from him. Slater's after it. Slater picks it up. Gets away from Tupi. Makes a bit of progress, but with Lee Smith, Billy Slater pulled down.
I'm not so sure that's the right option by the Rhinos, in as much the last 3 kicks gone towards Brent Webb. Surprisingly, they're not putting Turner and Quinn, both the wingers, under pressure. We saw early where Leeds opted for a very high bomb, and it created all sorts of confusion for the Melbourne side. They have yet to repeat it.
Well, this is Leeds Rhinos' toughest assignment so far in 2008, with all due respect to the 4 Super League clubs that they have played. That's a beautiful kick. It was aimed for Steve Turner, but Turner just didn't have the pace, the ball skipping away.
Great option, wasn't it? I think you'd have to say that Scott Donald had the speed, had it covered.
Off night with the boot for Steve Turner, as we see the man who put that kick in, Cooper Cronk. Steve Turner, he only kicked 1 from 4. There's Scott Donald, who was defending the run to the corner then by the Melbourne winger. They're up for the challenge, Melbourne, aren't they? There's no question.
They're taking this seriously. I think the weather has played a part here. Big shot there. They're really trying to turn the heat up here in Melbourne and keep Leeds down here at this end. But the weather has cleared up. For about an hour before the game, it was just raining, and I think it suits Leeds not to have the rain. I think they want to offload and they want a clearer night, and it's shaping up that way. Let's hope it keeps that way.
2-0, the Super League champions lead, courtesy of the penalty from Kevin Sinfield. And Rob Burrow with a little fumble. Now, was there a knock-on? Both ways. I think there possibly was.
First one from Rob Burrow. Just had a little glance towards the opposition coming forward to him. I mentioned the back 3 of the Melbourne. Kafusi, Hoffman and Johnson. They have been working tirelessly. And when we saw the big hit from Jeff Lima, the prop forward, there's no doubt in the Leeds fans here that this is going to be a tough one.
Diskin with a big one. Diskin. Great tackle by Diskin. But Melbourne coming forward here.
the line, Keith. On the line,
And
Keith.
that's Will Chambers. He plays the ball to Geyer. Geyer to Cronk. Cronk then back to Slater, who just slipped as Gareth Ellis approached. Geyer again. Goes down the inside channel with Dallas Johnson. Now it's Jeff Lima. That's the last tackle here for Melbourne. Geyer to Cronk. Cronk running it. Good ball. Great ball. Great try from Ryan Hoffman. Ryan Hoffman with the try for Melbourne Storm. Just about got the ball down. There was no doubt in the mind of either the touch judge or Ashley Klein, the referee. But Ryan Hoffman, the second row forward, one of a record 7 Melbourne men to play for Australia against New Zealand last October.
All came about by the error from Rob Barrow. Got themselves into a position. Interesting to see that on the third and fourth tackle, they both did a slip on the back on the inside. Went for the power play. They expected the kick into the corner. And on the last, Leeds were caught napping. Great work by Ryan Hoffman. Oh, that was good stuff, wasn't it? Halfback picked it out. They held back. Sinfield couldn't get to him.
Ryan Hoffman touching down, but the left arm was very close to the dead ball line.
Well, they do line you up, don't they, for that kick option. I think Leeds probably, at that point in the game, expecting the kick from Cooper Cronk. And when they do that, fantastic pass from him. Worrying signs here for Leeds. They've looked very vulnerable in defence early on, Tony.
Yeah, they were all out of whack there. The 3 players in 3 different positions in 3 different actions. You know, one player coming up and in, another player sliding, and another player waiting back for a kick. So, you know, that'll be a worry that they need to get on top of that. But, yeah, I don't know. They've been a little bit disjointed as well, Melbourne. I just feel that their dummy half work, you know, Guy's doing his best for him, but I couldn't say it's smooth work at the moment, so that's a bonus for him to come up with a try on last play.
Well, I mentioned Steve Turner, who had an off night with the boot last week at Halifax, and this won't do him any favours. Will Chambers having to keep a finger on the top of the football, and it's rocking on that kicking tee, isn't it? Despite the attentions of the centre. He's got the window to help him. It's on its way, but it's gone way past the post the wrong side. Leeds 2, Melbourne 4, though.
Positional sense, just a little bit off the boil. You can see Sinfield is in 2 minds. Do I go? Do I stay? He stayed too long. Couldn't get him.
Do you think, Tony, that they'll persist with bringing Lee Smith in to defend as a centre on the play and put Tupi back for the kick?
I don't think so. You know, they may well. I'm not sure what happened there. Really, they had 3 defenders there and they had two attackers. They should have handled it. You know, there was just miscommunication. I just saw Clinton limping there. I don't know whether he's suffering from cramp or whether he's got an injury, but yeah, it was all out of whack. They won't be happy with that, but I'm sure they'll rectify it.
Leeds Rhinos have scored 24 tries in the opening 4 rounds of Super League 13, and they have conceded just 7. They conceded the first try here tonight, though, and there's a drive forward from Adam Blair, another international who comes off the bench, New Zealand international. Here now is Jeff Lima. It's a big collision with Gareth Ellis. It's the last tackle here.
Ellis is working overtime in defence. He's all over the place.
Up goes the bomb, and that will carry forward in the wind. That will bounce in front of Brent Webb. Offside, though. Offside against Melbourne. All the chasers were offside. They were ahead of the kicker. That's the view of Ashley Klein.
It's amazing, isn't it? They watch the kick. There are 4 players in front, well spotted by the official. But remember, from the kickoff, the wind just took it away, and it seems to have just died at that very moment.
Back up, let's wait.
Certainly confused the Leeds defence.
Well, that's confused us as well, because Billy Slater was the first man to the bouncing ball. He was not offside, but maybe one of the men who was following up was.
They were.
OK, Phil. Hasn't confused you then?
They're within the 10.
Yeah.
2.
Well, they were ahead of the kicker.
Off the ball, Brett.
Mr. Clark spotted them. Here is Diskin for the Rhinos. Looking to respond.
Leeds need to get into a little bit more shape, a little bit more hard work in the forwards and not try to spin it out wide, try to score on every single play.
It's a big night, this, isn't it, for Gareth Ellis? You mentioned Steve-O, he's putting himself about. He wants to prove to the viewers watching over in Australia that West Tigers have got quite a catch coming over there next year.
He's world class, simple as that. And you can't blame him to try his hand in one of the hardest competitions in the world. What a take. Super stuff from Quinn.
Wonderful takeover on that far side from Anthony Quinn. Here's another penalty against Leeds Rhinos.
To be fair, the look on Jamie Peacock said it all, and Danny Maguire, mainly due to the fact that the Melbourne Storm player wanted to get on with it, which was the winger Quinn, but he just had a second little tip at it.
This is Ryan Hoffman, the scorer of the Melbourne Storm try, and he's got Matt Geyer in again at dummy half there behind him. Thought about going the short side, comes instead more towards the middle. Well, that was a forward pass. There were maybe two forward passes there.
Well, I think Brett White was pretty glad that the referee had blown for a forward, because he was ready for crunch time, was the prop forward White. They really have got into each other, these forwards. It's going to really come down to see who's the fittest side late in this game.
And that must surely be a pointer that is in Leeds' favour. Should be. Here is Scott Donald, over halfway for the Leeds Rhinos.
Quite a few of the Leeds players, at every single tackle that Melbourne put in, they're shouting and screaming at the officials, saying you should do this and you should do that. They're being sucked in a bit by Melbourne. They should get on with the game plan.
Jamie Peacock, good offload to Rob Burrow. Burrow trying to use those quick feet of his to get through this Melbourne defence, but so far they're standing tall. 21 minutes of the Carnegie World Challenge gone. The NRL champions are ahead by 4 points to 2, and Leeds know they're in a game. This is the last tackle here for Leeds, this set of 6. Midway inside the Melbourne half of the field. Dab over the top by Maguire. And the ball is collected again by Billy Slater. And Maguire is hurt as the rain comes tumbling down.
Well, it looked late. Certainly appeared late. Maguire had taken the full 1.5 steps anyway before he was collected.
Hoffman is drilled to the ground by Lee Smith. Let's go down to the side again, and Bill, got your brolly up, Bill.
Oh, Eddie, stormy conditions out there, and getting a bit stormy on the field as well. Just one or two little set-twos off the ball, nothing physical, but a great little bit of verbal tussling between Israel Folau and Keith Senior, the veteran and the young pretender, and a bit of finger-wagging after a tackle by Folau on Senior. Senior gave him the nod, God-fearing Folau just gave him the gesture back.
Knock on
by the Leeds Rhinos.
Not surprising,
and,
though.
Fullback Brent Webb.
In these conditions, Eddie, it is really difficult to keep hold of the football, especially with the fact that you know the Melbourne defence is pretty strong. Though it seemed to be a flailing arm there by Blair.
Loose carry is the way that Ashley Klein interprets that. Well, there's Sam Tagatese. He's about to come into the action for Melbourne. The way the coaches tonight will use their substitutions is going to be crucial, Tony.
Yeah, it is, and Denny Maguire's injured over the other side. They're trying to get Carl Ablett on at the moment, so they were down one at the scrum, and that's probably why Melbourne made so much ground at the scrum. But that looks like bad stuff for Denny over there.
Yes, it does. It was a big hit, there's no doubt. Maybe a touch late, but referee and touch judges were happy with the legality of the challenge. Here is Lima for Melbourne. It's Geyer. Geyer gets the pass away to Cooper Cronk, with it forward to Hoffman.
Certainly was. Delayed it far too long. Well, this has been a real surprise, and I think a lot of the, no doubt about it there, that Cronk delayed the pass to the big fella Hoffman. You know, most people arriving today, Leeds fans, they were the favourites, and I just got the impression that maybe Leeds would be used to the sort of the atmosphere and they would race to a commanding lead. But this defence from Melbourne has been quite superb.
Well, you're remembering what happened here 3 years ago, aren't you, when Leeds last won this title?
Well, normally the Australian sides find it very difficult to get into the swing of things. They haven't tonight.
I think they've accepted the conditions far more. Leeds wanting to play their expansive game, move the ball wide as they do throughout the season over here, and the conditions haven't helped them do that. I think also the Storm have kicked the ball far better. You see the driving wind and rain here now. Melbourne are simply making far more ground with their set of possession, and on the back of that, kicking more effectively.
There's Burrow with the left-footed kick downfield, but there is acres of space ahead here of Billy Slater.
That's about the worst kick that you could put to the Melbourne Storm. Perfectly to Billy Slater in the middle of the field.
Well, I remember when this sport of ours was played in the summer. Have a look at what these players are going through tonight. Driving rain. Steve-O actually described it as a cyclone at about 6 o'clock.
Well, you wouldn't believe me, you laughed. Get a big smile on your face. Cyclone, what are you talking about? They're not called Storm for nothing, and they've adapted it a lot better. And they're also taking the risks, which is surprising. That's why they become so famous down under.
Well, Will Chambers just couldn't take this pass in. It's a knock on.
Up until, sorry Phil, up until that era, I'd just been watching, you know, Storm have just been throwing little short passes. That's probably the longest pass that they've threw in the game, and you know, it's the conditions for little short passes or offloads. We saw a little offload there from Jamie Peacock a little while ago, and Rob Burrow sniffing around the back. That's the sort of stuff that it can break open for Leeds. You know, it's the short passing game. Be careful in contact because the ball gets knocked out.
The Leeds are in possession from the base of that scrum, and Rob Burrow will wait. And here is Ellis again. Good, strong run. We've seen Danny Maguire coming off injured. Bill, what's the news?
Well, ominously for the Rhinos, Eddie, Danny Maguire has gone straight to the dressing room. Now, that normally doesn't bode well for the injured player. I do remember it's some time ago, but Danny Maguire has had a previous shoulder injury, so I don't know whether it's a recurrence of that.
Meanwhile, Rob Burrow is still out there, as is Gareth Ellis. That's the fourth tackle. There is Burrow again. He finds Brent Webb. Brent Webb is clattered to the ground. Sam Tangatesi's a big guy. And Ellis with the kick. And the ball bounces and ricochets into the arms of Tangatesi. And, well, you wouldn't want Gareth Ellis normally to be doing the kicking on the last tackle,
well, they lost the plot. Simple as that. They've got to get themselves the shape back into it. They've got to understand what it's all about. Rob Burrow should be there, or Sinfield saying, look, this is mine, I want it, I'm doing the kicking. And don't leave a man like Ellis. He was just left out on his own. This is the incident. Was he late? Well, that is a big question. I thought he had a time to step. Not seen by the touchers, and the official, Ashley Clyde. They're getting confused, Eddie.
Well, they're a little bit indisciplined, which is something we're not used to.
Rolling around. He should release. But Wathke Senior, was he being held down by Ryan Hoffman? It can be a 50-50 there.
Well, Danny Maguire doesn't look terribly well, but at least he's back out of the dressing room, and
he shakes his
he's
head.
still in his kit.
Yeah, but he shakes his head. That's a sign of disappointment. That's a sign of perhaps a doctor saying, we'll use you only if we really need you.
And I know this is a massively important match, the World Club Challenge. To say you're World Club champions is a massive boost for the club. But there is a long, long way to go in Super League yet this year. And if there is any risk at all, Brian McLennan and his medical staff doing the right thing. 28 minutes on the watch. Melbourne ahead 4-2. Low-scoring World Club Challenge here at Ellen Road at the moment. Cooper Cronk with the ball to Billy Slater, who is immediately scragged to the floor by Carl Ablett. Still waiting for his first start, Carl Ablett, remarkably. Cooper Cronk with the crossfield kick, which bounces the right side of the whitewash, but it wasn't clever. It wasn't pretty.
And then again, a high kick. Where's the wind gone? That didn't move forward at all. And I would be suspecting that Brian McLennan, the Leeds coach, would be saying to himself, well, it's worth at least 6 to 10 points when we turn around and utilise the big strong wind.
Well, that's if Burrow and Sinfield get their kicking game in order. And it is, of course, going to be difficult because Danny Maguire is an important cog in that wheel as well, isn't he?
Spot on, Eddie.
But Israel Folau just picks up Brent Webb like he's a rag doll. Burrow was hit after the ball went by Folau then.
That was better play by Leeds. That's what they need to do.
Here is Webb.
Big Quinny playing the ball.
Now that will lift the crowd, that run from Brent Webb.
I think you're going to see a lot more. I think you're going to see a lot more of Brent Webb now that Danny Maguire's gone off. He'll step up and go up into that front line a whole lot more. And you know, he's trying to inject himself in this game to lift the intensity. And you know, the other one is Kevin Sinfield, who's going to handle the ball a lot more as well.
There's a problem there for Clinton Tupi. He looks like he's been struggling actually from the start of the match. That's a horrible bounce. Ali Lawatiti, couldn't take the ball in. Israel Folau tidies up at the back for the Melbourne Storm.
Frustrated Brian McLennan, the coach, mainly due to the fact that was bouncing all over the place. Leeds have to really calm down now because there's still players there.
Another penalty.
Messing around. But there are players there, Eddie. They're more concerned in trying to get a message across to the man with the whistle.
Definitely reefed away. Yeah. They were spotted. He was spotted there by the official, was Carl Ablett. Here comes Hoffman.
Eddie, the Storm have attacked on the far side of the field, the left side predominantly in this game when they've had chance to, and I think they'll do that even more. I think they fancied running at Clinton Tupi, but now that he's carrying an injury, I suspect they'll go even more to that left side.
They're up the middle at the moment, though, and they're halted by Diskin and Senior and Ali Lawatiti. Bill, more news of Danny Maguire.
Well, Danny Maguire, as we've seen, is out of the dressing room. He's sitting on the bench, and as I suspected, it's a brachial plexus traction lesion that Danny Maguire is suffering from, i.e. a stinger, and they're just going to see whether that wears off, and he might well be able to reappear.
Great work from the fullback, meanwhile, here, watched by Danny Maguire.
The Rhinos are being battered, Eddie. It's as simple as that. And it needs big runs from this big fella to try to lift this Leeds outfit. Tony, you know these Leeds outfitting players inside and out. What would you be sending out to them now?
Oh, no. I've got no answers for you there, Steve. I'm going to leave it to the new coach. But I think they're really conscious that Melbourne are one of the best teams in the world at slowing the ball down. And they're probably, you know, trying to combat that themselves and probably going just a little bit overboard with it. You know, they're getting put on their back a little bit more often, and they're trying to do it to Melbourne as well. But here they go, they're lifting here. This is where Leeds can really get dangerous.
That was a fantastic run and chase and hit from Jamie Jones-Buchanan on Steve Turner. Ooh, but it was a bit high. But it's warming up. This World Club Challenge is starting to warm up.
And it's what Leeds needed. We said earlier, he wants a shoulder to start with.
Another penalty against Leeds. Ashley Klein's caning them.
Well, when you get rough and tough, sometimes you can just lose your cool. He was a bit high on that occasion.
I say he's caning them, to be fair. It's 7-5 in Melbourne's favour at the moment. And it was a penalty.
Little doubt. But boy, they needed something to lift. The Rhinos are really out of sorts, and that's been brought about by this tremendous effort by the forwards in defence from the Storm.
Ball bounces off the chest of Tangatese.
Good refereeing. 2 knock-ons. They've come up with a football. No point in stopping it. Just get on with it. No point in putting a scrum down.
Here's the skipper, Kevin Sinfield. Look at the tackling work that both sides are doing, Leeds particularly. 129 against their name at the moment. This is Lawatiti taking on Cooper Cronk. Tagatese was there to bring him down from behind. Rob Burrow to Brent Webb to Keith Senior. And Senior gets the ball away to Webb. Keep on going, says Ashley Klein. So nothing wrong with the pass. It's Sinfield who floats it out wide. Now it's with Jamie Jones-Buchanan. Ball though is lost.
Knock on.
Knock on by Melbourne.
You reckon? Reckon there was a hand in there? Looks to me as though Jones-Buchanan was the culprit.
It's a head and feed to Melbourne.
Yeah, he seemed to lost. Just loses control. Good tackle, good defence.
He loses the ball backwards.
They're all one item as well, mate. I'm in.
Not so sure, Phil, but either way.
Referee saw it your way, Steve-O. It's head and feed at the scrum to Melbourne. And this is Folau. He became Australia's youngest ever international, 18 years and 194 days against the Kiwis last October. And it's some call, isn't it, that Sam Burgess has been called in some quarters the best teenager in the world when there's fellas like Israel Folau knocking around.
Oh, don't worry, the Australians keep producing them. It's as simple as that. That's why.
But we've got Burgess, Steve-O.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is that, you know, they're saying that this Melbourne side, they've got a lot of their star players out. There's got a wonderful conveyor belt down there.
We've got a few coming too, Steve-O.
Good on you, Tony.
We've got a few coming in there, and there are going to be some more young boys that pop their head up out of the, you know, to look for their chance in the World Cup, I'm sure. But this is where, in this game, it's really crucial. The last 5 minutes, the Rhinos are so good in this area of the game. The last 5 minutes of each half, that's when they really come alive. And you know, the champions they're up against as well, they lift at this stage too. So it should be a great 5 minutes to finish off the half.
It should be, and would you be encouraged if you were Brian McLennan that you would be playing in the second half with this gale force wind at your back?
Yeah, there's that too. It's this game's in the balance. Look at the score. It's 4-2, and it's a real tight match. You know, I don't know if it's ever going to open up to any real openness within the game. It's going to be a tough graft right the way through, but we'll talk about that more at half-time.
That's a great kick from Rob Burrow. What a pity that Brent Webb couldn't pick it up. It was a lovely dink over the top, and Webb had read the script, but just couldn't take it in. Look.
Great combination. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. He just tried to offload at the very last moment.
There he is, Rob Burrow and Brent Webb almost combining to unlock this Melbourne Storm defence. 4 minutes from half-time. Melbourne in possession. No slacking of the pace as far as the NRL premiers are concerned.
Well, they're doing a lot of work from dummy half as well, you know. And
great kick from Cronk. Fantastic kick from Cronk. Slater's after this. Well watched though all the way by Clinton Tupy. And here goes Lee Smith.
I'm just making the point, Teddy, that Melbourne, they're running from dummy half, creating all sorts and just utilising this very short pass. And now Leeds got a relieving penalty that they really need.
And everyone on the feet around this ground. A standing ovation for Ashley Klein.
It was superb work, though, wasn't it, for Clinton Tupy, who appeared to be carrying an injury earlier. But I just feel that Leeds need to have a little bit more running from the likes of Matt Diskin, and maybe Rob Burrow put himself into the dummy half position too.
Here's Nick Scruton on his 50th Leeds appearance tonight. Matt Diskin waits. Goes down the short side with Keith Senior. And Senior's got Scott Donnell. Scott Donnell, though, is enveloped by two purple jerseys. Diskin to Burrow. Burrow flips it up to Big Ali Lauatiti. This is a chance for Leeds to strike back just before half-time. Diskin to Burrow. Back on the inside to Webb. Webb weaving, looking for the opening. Out wide to Donald, and Leeds are in. He waited and waited and waited. Referee hasn't given it yet. He's asking the video referee, Phil Bentham, to check for obstruction.
Wonderful work by the fullback, though, Brent Webb. Surprisingly, Melbourne didn't want to come out of their line of defence. They were just waiting. What is he going to do? Israel Folau went early. So did Steve Turner. He went for Slater. Went to run for Keith Senior and has come off second best. It's a beautiful pass. You can see Donald's out there. Turner's gone in. Is there obstruction here? No. This try will be given. Is it this one? I think it's too far away.
Well, he ran into Cooper Cronk, but
I think this will be given.
Well, he's looking at the grounding by the looks of things.
Steve Turner's in no man's land. This will be given, I'm sure.
Immediately asking the Melbourne Storm players for the referee to hand it upstairs, which he did. But the decision is a try for the Leeds Rhinos. The Super League champions hit the lead just on the stroke of half-time. Scott Donnell, 5 tries, joint top of the Super League charts with the Harlequins' Matt Gaffer. That's his 6th try of the campaign. Scott Donald edges Leeds ahead right on the stroke of the half-time siren.
And what a time to score, but full credit yet again. I mentioned the fact that Matt Diskin had to do a little bit more running from dummy half. It was his lovely step and run from the short blind side. Remember, he brought Senior through, put them into that position, and that's the first time really that the Rhinos have teased this Melbourne defence. And boy, didn't they do it well.
Well, he's a fantastic kicker, Kevin Sinfield, and this is a real test in the face of this very strong wind. But he's given it a great chance. He has given it a wonderful kick. And Leeds are ahead by 8 points to 4 as we approach half-time. What a kick to crown a great try.
Great build-up. But you watch on this, that Webb's running around. And Israel Folau, maybe a little bit inexperienced, certainly from Steve Turner, the winger. He went straight to Keith Senior. And Webb says, hey, hello, Mr. Donald out there on the wide. Take that. He knows the way to the line, this fella.
Ryan Bailey to try and work this ball forward for Leeds, but a great chase from the kick-off by Melbourne Storm. Trailing 8-4 now into the last minute of this first half. Lauatite for Leeds. Down he goes. There'll be no gambling surely now from the Rhinos here, this set of 6. Bailey again, straight at Gaia. Plays the ball to Webb. Webb. Tackled midway inside his own half of the field.
It just shows
Dallas
you,
Johnson.
It just shows you, Eddie, how composure can just turn the game. And that's what Leeds did. They got into a good position, they didn't panic, they worked hard, and that should just about see it.
That was great thinking from Rob Burrow. Drill the ball into touch. The Melbourne Storm, though, they've gathered quickly at the scrum. The referee will now call time off with 12 seconds remaining. Brian McLennan knows that there is still time here
now
for Melbourne to produce something special.
Now Donald is the only one that's hanging back. Will Melbourne, and it's likely that they might take the ball and they chip over the top. There's no full back there.
This is Billy Slater. Oh, the ball goes to ground. That's a knock on. That will do it. That will do it. That's the first half. And Leeds are ahead by 8 points to 4. And Brian McLennan, who won the Tri-Nations final here with New Zealand in 2005, is on the brink of glory for the Leeds Rhinos in this Carnegie World Club Challenge. Big crowd inside Ellen Road tonight. The Leeds Rhinos, they had to play second fiddle for much of that first half, but they just had the skill and the guile right on the stroke of half-time to come up with the try for Scott Donald that was improved with a wonderful kick from Kevin Sinfield. Super League champions lead by 8 points to 4.